Hello and welcome to the web series ZeroPM Pieces. In the ZeroPM Pieces, the researchers in the project will tell you about one piece of the ZeroPM puzzle that they're working on. So without further ado, here comes a ZeroPM piece. Welcome everybody to ZeroPM piece number 25. Today I'm going to be telling you about ZeroPM's key exploitable results between 2021 and 2024. My name's Hale and I work at TZW, which is the German Water Centre. For those of you who aren't familiar with ZeroPM, it's a Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Action Project, and we are interlinking and synergising 3 strategies to protect the environment and human health from persistent mobile substances. We're interlinking prevention, prioritisation and removal strategies. Within the project, we have 15 partners and they'll be working until September 2026 on all of the activities that we have planned. Within the project, we have 8 different work packages. There's a work package related to project management and a work package related to dissemination and communication. And then work package 2 to 7 are our technical work packages. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through each of the work packages in turn and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the key exploitable results. The first work package that we have is the Alternatives Assessment work package, and the overall aim here is to provide safer chemical alternatives to non-essential uses of PM substances. So we are working on a database of potential chemical and functional alternatives. We're also looking into stakeholder perceptions, motivations, and intentions related to essential use. And we're developing novel methodologies for chemical alternatives assessment. Here you see a little snapshot of the ZeroPM Alternatives Database. You can follow the link to go straight to the database, and here you see that we have a database setup that provides chemical function, end-use function and function as a service for each use of a substance of concern. We've focused our efforts first on PFAS, and the database is set up as shown there in the middle of the slide with all of those different use categories. If you follow the other link, then you get to a ZeroPM film that tells you all about how to use the database itself. We've also looked at some case studies, the first being cosmetics. Here we decided to take a look to see whether there are any alternatives to the PMT substances, so persistent mobile and toxic substances, that are used in cosmetics. We found alternatives for 3 particular substances that are shown there on the slide, and if you want more information you can follow the link to the publication about the work. Like I say, we're also looking at social perceptions. This is very important as we need social data. There's a very big data gap at the moment related to the perception of essentiality. If you want to read the publication that's just come out about this work and also have a listen to the podcast, then you'll get more information about what we're doing. But the things that are coming out as key topics are that there's a diversity of perception, because some people can view the same issue, they can have the same information, but they reach a different conclusion. So we need to have an appreciation of risk perception so that we can help address concerns and provide an increased understanding of issues. We also need representation, because diverse voices are involved in decision-making processes, and without that we risk making solutions that don't actually work. We're also trying to close some data gaps for improved life cycle assessment methods. There's some publications that you can read, linked to on the slide, and also a short film about these publications. But what we have done is we've provided better characterization factors for these PM substances. So this tells you, these characterization factors can give you a more realistic estimate of the impact of a particular substance. And these also have up-to-date toxicological data for anybody else who's carrying out an LCA. Let's move on now to the next work package, which is called Policy Analysis, Development and Assessment. Here, the overall aim is to stimulate and support policy changes to effectively tackle PM substances. We are developing and hosting a regulatory watch. We're looking at opportunities and gaps in the existing policy framework, and we're looking at policy actions tailored to specific groups of PM substances or their uses or their sectors. First of all, to introduce you to the Regulatory Watch. The slide has a link there, so you can go to the Regulatory Watch, and what we have here is basically a tracking system where we are looking at any kind of European initiative that has to do with PMT, persistent mobile toxic, or very persistent, very mobile substances. We update this tool once a month, and you can download an Excel sheet and a Gantt chart, the Gantt chart being showed on the slide there, so that you're also aware of what's happening. There's a film that's been made by one of the researchers in ZeroPM that tells you all about the Regulatory Watch that you could go and have a listen to. We've also investigated the policy framework for PMT and VPVM substances. Now, this framework is quite complex and spans many different areas, as is shown there on the slide. And if you'd like to read more, you're welcome to go and click on the link to one of our ZeroPM deliverables that speaks all about this framework. Moving to our market transition work package. The market transition work package has the overall objective of catalysing a market transition away from these harmful PM substances. And to do this, we are going to assist, encourage and connect companies, and we're also developing tools that support industry to identify any PM substances in their products. We've developed what's called the PFAS guide, shown there on the slide, and you can also follow the link to this guide. Quite often it can be difficult for companies to understand whether they have PFAS in their supply chains. Supply chains are often very complex and they span perhaps country borders or even global. They're very global. So one of the things that we've tried to do is provide a guide that's easily accessible to companies in that position. Here you see a little bit more information about the PFAS guide. What we have is different sections with different pieces of information. We have a database that allows companies to understand if they have a PFAS hotspot, because you're able to search by sector, product, use and function to get this information. We have information also about PFAS uses, typical PFAS uses, how to communicate within your supply chain, methods for analysis, and also about regulation. Moving on now to Work Package 5. In Work Package 5, this is the substance grouping work package where we aim to prioritise PM substances and substance groups on the global chemical market for prevention and removal. We're going to do this by hosting a database, developing a database. We're also putting data in about uses, emissions, physicochemical properties, circularity and environmental monitoring, and we're looking at how to group. What strategy should we take? So let's have a look at the ZeroPM database. If you follow the link there on the slide, you get to this database. At the moment, this is a beta version, so it will be updated. It will be most likely, it will be added to, but it shows you the global chemical inventory. So this is all chemicals that are registered globally for production and import, and they're prioritised based on their persistence and their mobility. Then we've been thinking about how to group. There's a publication that's just come out, shown there on the slide, where we talk about different ways of grouping things. Of course, the PMT substances, they can go into a group, so can the VPVM substances, and then also there's a group of PMT and VPVM substances. But we're thinking about how to group related to structural similarities and also retained moieties following transformation reactions. For those of you who know about PFAS, you'll know that the universe of PFAS is vast. On the slide here, we have some numbers that may shock everybody. We are looking at millions of PFAS. We have a PFAS tree that has been published on PubChem, where there's over 7 million PFAS that you can go into and look at and break down. There's a publication that has come out that's related to this data, and we also have a couple of webinars. Interestingly, these webinars were recorded when we first started the project, and then there was 6 million PFAS listed in PubChem. So you can see that over that time frame, the universe has grown more and more. We've also developed something called shiny TPs. Now, this is an app in R that you can use in order to create data, transformation reaction data in PubChem. If you want to follow the link on the slide there's a publication, but there's also a short film that's been made by one of the researchers who can tell you more about how to use this tool and why transformation products are so important. Quite often what we see is when persistent and mobile substances are transformed, the daughter product is more mobile than the parent itself. We've also produced something that we've referred to as the chemical stripes, and you see it on the slide there. This has been published and you can follow the link, but also very interestingly it's been sonified, which means it's been turned into music. If you click on the link at the top of the slide, you can actually hear this. There is an R package that's available for people who want to use this, and what the package does is searches through patents to find out how many chemicals are listed with these under a patent. And what you see on the slide there is that over time the number of patents has increased for the substances that are listed. Let's move on to work package 6 now, which is our risk assessment, screening and prioritisation work package. Here we are looking to quantify the impacts of PM substances on human health and the environment. And we're going to be doing this by looking at improved models for external human exposure, and then models that translate in vitro effect concentrations to human relevant internal doses, further to external exposure scenarios. We're going to make a toolbox for PM substance hazard assessment and also a risk matrix for screening and prioritisation. Let's have a little think first about hazard and exposure. These are the two things that go together to quantify risk. A recent publication that's come out looks at how we can quantify exposure. So here we suggest that by using physicochemical properties, we can screen chemicals that may represent a potential exposure to drinking water. But then we can go further. We can develop models that can prioritise which chemicals need additional data to satisfy uncertainties, and those that can be prioritised for regulatory action if the available information is consistent enough to warrant a cause for concern. Now we're going to go further and we're going to look at sensitivity in modelling assumptions. We've also done some work on NAMs for different adverse outcomes for 36 PM substances, and these 36 PM substances are in the PFAS, triazine and triazole groups. We have looked at EATs, we've looked at immunotoxicity, we've looked at developmental toxicity, and we've also looked at liver toxicity. And this is the prototype or the working version of our risk matrix. So this allows us to look at both hazard and exposure and then see where we have cause for concern or no cause for concern. Moving on to work package 7, which is our technical solutions work package. Here we're going to demonstrate how and if legacy PM substance pollution can be remediated. We're looking at innovative analytical methods for monitoring. We're also going to demonstrate the removal of PM substances from drinking water by developing novel remediation solutions. And we want to look at evaluating the sustainability of these solutions, as well as looking at the fate of PM substances during sludge treatment. Here we are looking at some of our innovative soil analysis methods. We're working at a case study site in Germany, the Rastatt site, where sludge containing paper pulp, it was contaminated with PFAS, was applied to a huge amount of agricultural land. This is actually the largest site in Europe that has this type of PFAS pollution. We've been focusing on two different methods. The first is the top assay, the second is ball milling. There's a publication that you can read to do with the top assay, and the ball milling results are related to which concentrations of which PFAS increase or decrease with ball milling. We've been looking at some innovative water monitoring methods, and here we're focusing on passive sampling, which allows you to measure very low aqueous concentrations and also gives you a time integrated value. We've focused on the POSI as our passive sampler. It's been calibrated and now it's been deployed in a waterworks in Rastatt. So this is our case study site where we've installed also, I'll show you in a second, our pilot scale treatment system. So this is the system that we've installed. It's our novel remediation water solution, and we've combined activated carbon with ion exchange. So the activated carbon acts to remove the long chain PFAS, and then the ion exchanger will remove the short chain PFAS. To make the system more sustainable, we're working on how to regenerate the ion exchanger, and then the solution that comes from the regeneration process will then be treated with electrochemical degradation. What we've seen so far is very good results. Concentrations are below 100 nanograms per litre, and our removal efficiency is around 99%. If you want more information about what we're doing at the pilot plant, you can follow the link there on the slide, and there's a video of inside the pilot plant and how the treatment system works. To look at the electrochemical oxidation process, this slide shows you what we're doing. We're working at the 20 litre scale, and we have two different pathways of degradation, and this is a process that we'll be developing in order to treat that concentrate that comes from the regeneration process. Finally, having a look at what we're doing with our sludge. So this is a large problem, obviously, if sludge contains PFAS, which is not removed during the treatment process and then can be applied to agricultural land. So we're trying to look at conventional anaerobic digestion, but modified. So we've added some granular activated carbon, and there's a publication there that tells you a little bit about the results, where the activated carbon actually results in an increased removal of PFAS. We've also built a pilot plant at one of our other test sites in ZeroPM. This is in Greece, and it's a hydrothermal carbonisation plant which will now be running for 2 years, so we'll be able to see what happens over time. Finally, to move to work package 8, which is our dissemination and communication work package. We have lots of different tools in ZeroPM to disseminate and communicate with different stakeholders. We have our website, we're on social media, but we also organise workshops. We have a lot of films and podcasts which are very informative and tell you all about the work that we're doing. We're going to produce some fact sheets and some guidelines related to our remediation solutions. We have some policy briefs that accompany our policy work. We'll be organising summer schools and technology demonstration events. So I encourage you to try and follow ZeroPM and see if there's an opportunity for you to contribute. And with that, I would like to thank everybody in ZeroPM, all the project partners, and also say thank you to everybody. And if there are any questions, please just reach out using the email on the slide there.
ZeroPM. Zero pollution of persistent and mobile substances. This project has received funding from the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Programme under Grant Agreement number 101036756.